My name is Carrie Blaney. I am the County Clerk in Monongalia County, West Virginia, and thank you so much to the Morgantown Area Partnership and our local Chamber of Commerce for inviting me to be with you today and to answer some of these questions. Our office is ready to help all of the voters in Monongalia County make sure that we can vote their ballot, and that we have a wonderful election in the midst of this pandemic. It has been a little confusing, but we hope that all of our voters will take advantage of voting in the 2020 primary election for June 9th. Well, all voters who are concerned about appearing in person to vote at early voting or on election day should consider the option of using the absentee ballot. I think some voters have a misconception about an absentee ballot. They think that if they vote by absentee, it's going to be considered a provisional ballot and will not be counted on election night, but that is not the case. An absentee ballot is the same ballot that you would cast if you were appearing to vote in person or on election day. And it will be processed by election night so that it is included in the unofficial results that we total on the evening of June the 9th on election day. The governor opened in conjunction with the Attorney General and the West Virginia Secretary of State, has opened absentee voting up to all voters eligible for the primary, to vote in the primary election. And at this point, we have already received more than 11,000 applications for an absentee ballot. And we have processed all of those and are waiting those ballots to return. And we continue to receive more requests for applications each day. And the deadline to apply for an absentee ballot is not until, the deadline is not until June the 3rd. So we still have close to a month left for all of our voters to take advantage of the absentee voting process. You can apply for an absentee ballot by using our webpage. We have a fillable absentee application online, and you can retrieve it from there, and you can return it to our office by email, by fax, or by postal mail. We also, in conjunction with West Virginia Secretary of State's office, mailed an application to all of the eligible voters in Monongalia County. So we mailed out, the Secretary of State's office did this for every county in the state of West Virginia, mailed out an application to all eligible voters. And in Monongalia County, there were over 70,000 of those applications sent out. And you can return either the application postcard that you were sent to receive an absentee ballot, or if you did not receive the postcard application, you can retrieve that absentee application from our webpage. And our webpage is monongaliacountyclerk.com. And we have a tremendous amount of information on there, some frequently asked questions that the voters may have to ask. We've placed a lot of information on there that should be able to help the voter maneuver this for this primary election. Okay, this is a primary election, so there are rules regarding what ballot type a voter would be able to vote. A registered Democrat is only entitled to vote a Democratic ballot. A registered Republican is only entitled to vote a Republican ballot. A registered voter registered with the Mountain Party is only entitled to vote a nonpartisan ballot. A voter registered with the Libertarian Party is only entitled to vote a nonpartisan ballot. And a voter who is registered no party affiliated, or who is registered as a member of any party that is not a Democrat, Republican, Mountain, or Libertarian, may choose to vote either a Democratic or a Republican ballot. but they must make that choice on their absentee application if they are going to vote by absentee, or they will make that choice at the polling location when they appear to vote at early voting or on election day. Absolutely. There is a tracking link on our webpage at monongaliacountyclerk.com. You can also track it through the West Virginia Secretary of State's webpage at wvsos.com. And right now we are back to a normal process of, if we receive it on today, we will try to have it turned around and out the door by within 24 hours. We were on about a 4-day time difference from the time we received the absentee application to the time that we had it into postal mail, because we were receiving almost 2,000 a day, and it was taking us a little longer to process. But now we are back to receiving what we receive today. This is a Friday, so what we receive today will be mailed out on Monday. So when you appear at early voting or you appear on election day, all voters are asked to present a valid form of identification. The absentee process does not require a voter ID to be submitted. However, there is a requirement for any voter who is a newly registered voter to this county and has never voted in an election in the county, or a voter who is registered but has never appeared to vote at all. The first time a voter votes, they are required to show ID. So our office is flagging all of the voters who have requested an absentee ballot that falls into the category that they must show ID. We are including additional information in their ballot packet to tell them that they need to send us a copy of a valid form of ID, not an original driver's license, not any original paperwork, but they should send us a copy of a utility bill or something that verifies their name and residence address, so that they will qualify for the ID requirement, and all of those voters will be notified of that. When you send in your application, we will prepare a ballot specific to the party that you are entitled to receive in your precinct, and we will mail that to you in a packet, which will include all of your return information to get it back to our office. You will put your voted ballot inside an unmarked plain envelope, which is what we call a secrecy envelope, and you will put that inside a return mail envelope, which we have prepared with return postage. So we pay the postage for you to return that ballot to us by mail, and then you seal that up, you sign that envelope, and then you will stick that in the mail. When we receive that return ballot in the mail, we enter it into the database. So on the tracking link that is listed on our webpage and on the Secretary of State's webpage, you can track when our office received it. Once we enter in the date that we received that into the system, then that is when you have been given credit for voting in this election. Your ballot is then maintained until we are able to process it for counting. We will not be able to process any of the ballots that have been returned until the start of early voting. So your ballot will remain sealed up until the time that it is entered into one of our tabulating machines, but that will not be until the start of early voting. In order to have your ballot counted within the unofficial results for election night, your ballot must be received by the courthouse prior to June 9th, or if you are submitting it by mail, then you must have it postmarked by no later than June 9th, which is the date of the election. If it is postmarked after June 9th, then it will not be counted for the primary election. They can request a ballot, but they must make that request. If they submit an application and they have not indicated which ballot type they wish to receive, they will be sent a nonpartisan ballot. And a nonpartisan ballot will only include the judges for Supreme Court, Circuit Court, Magistrate, Board of Education, Conservation District Supervisor, and the levies. So many times voters will not make a selection. Well, they will and we will send them a nonpartisan ballot, and when they receive that, they call our office and want to know where their contests for president, for United States Senate, and for some of the local offices are. So I would just encourage any voter who is applying for their ballot, if they have any questions or they're not certain how to fill it out, to please call our office ahead of time so that we can answer their questions, and so that when we do receive their application, we know that we are sending them the ballot that they intended. Many times the voters can check this information online. They can use the Check My Registration tool, and it will show the voter that they are registered, what political party they are registered, and what their precinct is. So a voter can check this information prior to filling out their application, and that is very helpful just to expedite the processing of their absentee ballot to them. One of the things I am concerned about is that we have sent out, as I said earlier, over 11,000 ballots so far, and all of those ballots need to be returned back to the county clerk's office. If there is a voter who has received an absentee ballot and then decides that they want to vote in person, they need to make arrangements with our office prior to May the 22nd, because that is when we are preparing our electronic poll books that will be sent to our early voting locations. And if a voter who has requested an absentee ballot appears to vote early or appears to vote on election day, they will not be able to vote a regular standard ballot in person. They will be asked to vote a provisional ballot because we have already mailed them a ballot. So I would just caution our voters and request that our voters who have taken the time to apply for an absentee ballot to submit that ballot back to the courthouse and not appear in person at early voting or election day to avoid that hassle of voting that provisional ballot.